Welcome to January's BAMcast, where we'll be talking about aligning your brand. Branding is a tricky thing to talk about. It's one of those things where we all seem to know it when we see it, when we feel it, but to speak about brands and branding objectively, most of us are at a loss. Fortunately, in the past few years, we are seeing far more conversations where business owners are finally coming around to the idea that having a brand goes way beyond a nifty logo, a color scheme, or a clever domain. However, we are still a very long way from discussing brand as alignment. So, what is brand alignment? Dear business owner, know thyself. I'm willing to bet your brand is nowhere near as strong as it could be, purely because you built it on the wrong foundation. Because without alignment, your brand will have difficulty connecting with the right clients, spell out messaging that hardly resonates, speak to audiences who may never buy from you or even work with you, develop products that have overinflated value with features that don't even solve the internal client's problem, have zero consistency in what you say from one day to the next. If your brand isn't aligned, no one will align with you. It's really that simple. It's like what all those dating coaches say. Can you really love someone else if you don't even love yourself first? Before we deconstruct what this all means, let me tell you what BAMcast is all about. BAMcast is a monthly podcast dedicated to aligning your brand, audience, and message. All resources, support, and topics will be around brand alignment to give you the confidence and clarity for the right path for your brand's vision. I am Joel Kelly, co-founder of BAM Align, BAM Academy, and the BAM Fam. I strongly believe in the philosophy of give someone a fish and they'll eat for a day. Teach someone to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. I've spent 20 plus years transforming brands and educating business owners on how to excel and align their message in the marketplace. I want to teach you the lessons I've learned from my successes and my failures and share the wisdom I've gained along the way. I didn't follow my passion. I followed the opportunity which led to my passion. If you want to build a legacy and live the life you've always dreamed of, but just need a little guidance to get you there, I'm here to help. This month's topic is aligning your brand. Now, years ago, a viral TEDx talk from Simon Sinek went viral. Start with why, he said. And he walked us through his golden circle of messaging. His idea, don't start with what you're trying to sell. Instead, start your messaging with why you got into the business in the first place. The video took off. Millions of views and shares, thousands of bits of content referred to it, and the branding world knew it had to reckon with it. Does Simon's theory work? For most, no. While it put forth clever talking points, it missed one essential element. Who? Before you can comprehend the why, how, and what of your brand, you have to know the who. Your why doesn't mean anything unless you fully comprehend who you are as a brand and how that brand relates to those you are trying to help. The brands who figured this out started off with who. With this podcast, I want to emphasize 3 points for why and how of the brand alignment. We'll be discussing 3 things during this podcast. First off, why is it that the who should drive the narrative of the alignment? Then, show you how to leverage this in our signature brand alignment process. Finally, I'll touch on the results you're going to see when you apply an aligned brand to your business. The essentialism of alignment. What Sinek missed. For what it's worth, Simon Sinek got many companies to reassess what they offer and how they offer it. This is a grand undertaking for just about any company. It turned their approach around. You weren't just selling things, you were selling the why you started the company in the first place. For some companies, this meant their purpose was brought to the front lines for the first time ever. For other companies, it meant they had to go back to square one and figure out what their purpose was in the first place. Can we just say we're in business to make lots of money to make a difference? No. Like everyone else who tries to dish out a free masterclass in a 15-minute TED Talk, the audience ran with the ideas in every conceivable direction except the one that mattered most. They were told to start with why, but they didn't think about the who. The goal is not to do business with people who want what you have, but to do business with people who believe what you believe. Simon Sinek. And herein lies the rub, the question of who. The who isn't necessarily your audience avatar or market segment, at least not yet. First, you have to ask the question, what do you believe? Or what do I believe as a business? The answer will lead you to other essential questions, such as, what are you known for? And what do you want to be known for? Or if you were asking yourself, what am I known for? And what do I want to be known for? The grand who ultimately determines the why at the center of Simon Sinek's golden circle. Those you can best serve are merely a refraction of what you represent. The who determines the group of people you fit with in the communities you can help foster. The who drives the narrative of alignment and determines every other element of your brand. So why isn't everyone starting with determining who they are? The sad truth of it, and this is likely a bigger existential problem than what can be discussed here, most people have no idea who they are. The world is in a state of continuous identity crisis, and this bleeds over into their business and what they are trying to offer the world. They ultimately fail to deliver on their authentic selves. Without authenticity, there is no alignment. BAM starts with the who. To date, the BAM Collective has guided over 3,000 companies and individuals through our brand development process. With every organization we have guided, we start with the same question. Who the hell are you? The Big BAM process starts with identity. Who you are determines who they, your clients, will be. This goes beyond who you, John or Jane Doe, might be and beyond what you think your company or business looks like. The key to your identity is partly determined by what others perceive it to be. What you have already internalized as your brand's identity is worthless compared to the external demands of your clients. The balance between what they demand and what you can offer is constant and continuous refinement, much how light through a prism is always changing depending on every other variable. Consider the Cat Ferrer's brand identity prism, 6 variables stretched across 4 different perspectives. The internal external of the client and the internal external of you, the company. Think of the beam of light that cuts through the prism. The internal culture of your brand will determine the kind of relationships you will have with your clients. Your physical attributes will be internalized and adopted as part of your audience's self-image. The personality you foster within is reflected in how they amplify, engage, interact, or buy into your brand. And this is just where we start. We take this and analyze your brand positioning. Your external product should relieve the client's internal pain. What is it? Once this position, you can determine how best to present your product, the sort of language you use, the visuals, and so on. Brand is not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. Marty Neumeier. It's not about saying, trust us, we're the experts, but getting the audience to reflect this by saying, hey, trust them, they're the experts. Everything a company does with its brand should reinforce its authenticity to confirm with the audience the very thing you want to be known for. We use the term guide with great intention. This goes far beyond what Cynic first said about how great leaders lead. We know that great leaders guide. It's only after we have determined identity, done the analysis, and found ways for your brand to serve as a guide that we start developing the outward facing strategies. This goes from the why to the audience you're doing it for. There is a lot that happens here, and you have to do it over and over again. With 8 billion and counting people in the world, your strategy needs to vary from one quarter to the next if you're going to hit the people who need you the most. Every new strategy yields new pockets of people that you are meant to help. The best part? Because you're working in alignment with your brand, you shorten the lead qualification process. Are these people the right client for you? They aligned with you, so you bet they are. From your identity, we start to shape your offer. Everything to this point is to get people to show up. So now it's a matter of what you can offer them. Now, you deliver the answer to the question. Now what? With the right offer presented in the right way, buying into you is a no-brainer. There's less need for sales because the client already knows they need what you have. Yet, another gain from your alignment. Strategy, offer, messaging, it's all coming together. Alignment determines the best way to share your offer with the world. Social media or direct mail, Twitter or LinkedIn, one-on-one or 1,000-person seminar. The top of the funnel isn't the start of your brand journey. The implementation of the brand alignment is. What are they putting down versus what you are going to offer up? Taking time to evaluate. Win or lose, the value is in debriefing or reflection. If you put in all the effort and didn't draw out a dime, figure out why. Where did things fall apart? What variables can you change? Chances are you've wandered outside your alignment. Whatever the case, there's not much use in making the same mistakes over and over again. Are you a household name? Great. How are you going to hold that position? How many Apple wannabes are out there? How easy is it to copy what you do? What system do you have in place to test this reality? Branding alignment is everything. Chances are there is something your company is struggling with. As of recording this podcast in early 2022, companies all over the world are struggling to retain their workforce and talent. They are fighting for attention in an increasingly competitive and expensive advertising marketplace. Supply chain disruptions are causing late delivery in everything from raw materials to finished products. Can brand alignment really alleviate these issues? Absolutely. When you know who you are and what makes you different before you approach the why, you save a lot of time and resources by attracting audiences who are right for you. Clients who don't need as much selling or convincing, and brand acolytes who will speak on your behalf. Alignment keeps you in your lane or sphere of influence. Brands that wander usually find themselves in some kind of trouble. offering services beyond your scope, marketing messaging that doesn't fit your audience, or trying to compete with brands that aren't even in your field. For a larger company, this means risking money that will have you losing shareholders. For smaller companies, you may overexert your workforce and bring on burnout. If you are like so many we know, solopreneurs can find themselves extending beyond their alignment and finding themselves in hot water, not just as a brand, but as a business and even as a person. Knowing yourself is understanding that you can't be everything to everyone. And all of this starts with the who. Who are you? Who are you to your clients? What do you want to be known for? And are you brave enough to find out? The people who have gone through this process, obviously, their results have varied, but some in little as a week started to notice the change of attracting the right audience. Some it took a month, and some it even took longer. But the reality is, once they understood who they were, they could be authentically who they were meant to be. And their why for being here, their how it's going to make a difference, and their what they're going to do to make that difference was so apparent. That concludes this month's BAMcast. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast, you can email clarity@bamalign.com with the subject line, I would like to be a guest on BAMcast. I strongly recommend you start by understanding your brand archetypal mix, and we have a free quiz for that. Link will be in the description. You can join our BAMFam community dedicated to aligning your brand. We have free alignment resources here as well. Link will also be in the description. Finally, if you find yourself in need of guidance with your brand alignment, we have our BAM Academy and frameworks to help you with that. I would start with the Big BAM process. This is the brand strategy framework I just spoke of that I have led thousands of clients through, and we have a self-guided option as well. Thanks again for listening, and hope you can understand the importance of aligning your brand to have clarity and focus on your overall vision.